Okay, so the title was already introduced, so let's pass to a short introduction. So this symbol as the pentagram pentacle or five-pointed star is a symbol used in many cultures, at least since the end of the 4th millennium BC, as for example at the site of Jemdet Nasr in Iraq, and survived until the contemporary period, appearing in a large variety of archaeological and historical remains, such as prehistoric pottery, rock art of several periods, funerary tombstones, also of several periods, belt buckles, shields, rings, coins, manuscripts, medieval churches from several places in Europe, coats of arms, and 19th century houses, among other examples, even in literature. For example, here I show some of the earliest, examples of pentagrams in pottery from Mesopotamia. And it was a symbol also used by early Christians, being present in funerary inscriptions in the catacombs in Rome. Among Christianity, it was used at least till the 18th century in gold amulets for children associated with 5 dots that symbolize the 5 wounds of Christ. That you can see in the next image. So here is a golden amulet for children from Açores, in Portugal. But before that, before going forward, I forgot to mention this inscription of the catacombs, where you can see a pentagram associated with the funerary inscription. And interestingly, it was a child of 10 years old. Well, when the pentagram is depicted isolated, its meaning is not easy to understand, but its association with other figures or its presence in scenes of mythological character allows an easier approach to its symbolism. Then it's possible to observe the context in which the symbol appears and make a less subjective interpretation. And this methodology of using context is important because, as someone wrote a long time ago, an archaeologist is a person that deals with the past, but is in the future regarding that past. So, but this will take a long time to explain. So let's move forward. And passing to the apotropaic and protective roles of the pentagram, the pentagram association with warriors and warfare of different places and chronologies allows to understand it as having a protective role in war. It appears also in contexts that can be considered of hieratic character, becoming therefore an apotropaic symbol with examples from several countries, as we are going to see. So, in this first, that we can call this first context, the association of weapons, the association with weapons or with warriors, you can see this is a rock art image from Valcamonica in Italy, in the Italian Alps, from the 4th century BC. And the red arrows indicate the presence of pentagrams together with warriors. In the left, you can see the pentagram seems to be depicted on the shield, which is a protective weapon of the warrior. And we have more examples in the left, again from Valcamonica, but in another place of Campanini di Simbergo, rock 57, where you can see, sorry, the image is not so clear, but you can see a warrior with over his head is a pentagram, and he's holding in his right hand not a bow, but a shield, like in the next image in the center, from another place, cave in France, from the region of Ariège, cave of Église Supérieure, where you can see a warrior with the same kind of shield and a pentagram that looks to come out of his foot. On the top, another image of a kind of a duel among warriors using swords and shields, and there is a large pentagram associated to one of them in another region of Valcamonica, Nacuane, which is a very rich national park with rock art. Again, still with association with warriors, you can see this famous crater, Etruscan, present in the Musée Capitoline in Rome, where you can see a battle between two ships with warriors and 2 pentagrams, and you can see better in the drawing. And also the shields, they have some symbols, like, for example, The first warrior in the left has a kind of solar wheel, as if you can want to call it that. And also the first one in the boat in the right has a bull on the shield. There are also pentagrams in, for example, in pieces of armor. This one in the left of the 5th century AD, found in the Roman site of Coimbra, Portugal, that was also occupied by barbarians. On the right, it's a manuscript of the famous Cantiga Santa Maria from Spain, where you can see a Muslim army with shields where there are pentagrams. Again, the pentagram in shields is very interesting. And some funerary tombstones of 12th century of the Knights Templar in the Convent of Christ of Tomar. There are many examples with the pentagram in these artifacts, in these monuments. Passing now to another context, pentagrams associated with figures of hieratic character. So you can see on the image a kind of so-called Greek cross, which is considered to be, by Miranda Green and other authors, a sun symbol among Celtic populations. And interestingly, you can see it associated with pentagrams. And you can see better in the next image. It seems to be a kind of syntax or early writing regarding these motifs in the rock. For example, you can see motif 2, which is a pentagram in the middle of 2 crosses, and motif 4 is another pentagram associated also with other crosses. And certainly this could be semiotic. And furthermore, we have here pentagrams in the cave of Menorca in Spain. One on the left, another one is very badly done, associated with the swastika, which is also badly done. But this happens frequently. As you can see on the image on the right, you can see rock art from Sweden, where there is a swastika painted in white, well done, and the other one with which not very well done. There are also, in this context of association of in a hieratic character, again rock art in the cave of Ariège in France, a character considered to be as a deity, which has a pentagram over his head, and on the right, a mask considered to be a mask of a divinity, also with another pentagram associated to it. This comes from Pera Escrita, Formiguera in the Eastern Pyrenees, and these are all from Iron Age. And interestingly, the pentagram, regarding pentagrams that are not well done, if it's not easy to draw a pentagram with a pencil and a sheet of paper, imagine to do that in a rock. Sometimes there are many pentagrams worse than others. There are some that are more perfect than others. And here this is very interesting. This is from the Catacombs, a publication from 1924. And here we see, we can call pagan symbols associated with Christian symbols. So the pagan symbols are the pentagram over an ivy leaf, which is also a pagan symbol, which among the Romans was a symbol of immortality, and the Christian symbols such as the dove and the grapes. And in the next slide, you can see, this is from a manuscript of the 12th century in the monastery of Lourvão in the city of Coimbra, Portugal, near the city, where you can see a lady which seems to be floating, holding the key row, the symbol of Christos, in the right hand, the symbol of Christ. She's holding in the left hand a kind of a grail, and there are several symbols such as 2 pentagrams and other, that seem to be exorcising this beast with 2 heads, several snakes coming off of its neck. And interestingly, there are over the near the mouth of this beast, there are some human faces, if you can see it, that looks like eventually the representation of souls that can be imprisoned by this beast, this demon, this evil creature. And the pentagram here, of course, has an apotropaic character and protective role, together with Christian symbols such as the pentagram, And interestingly, I don't know if you can see my mouse here as also kind of swastika, not well done, together with these Christian symbols. So regarding continuing to in this in Christianity, there are many churches in Spain and Portugal with the pentagram. Usually there are Knight Templar churches. And also in the right, you can see a bell with a pentagram inside the red circle. This belongs to the church of Santa Cruz of the 13th century, again in Coimbra. And I'm finishing some final considerations. The pentagram is, of course, a motive used in a symbolic way since prehistory to the present times, being this extraordinary survival important to better understand its meanings, which are not the same everywhere. And the association of this symbol with deities, with sacred symbols, such as the swastika, as you notice, and its presence in the funerary cult of different peoples and chronologies, gives the idea that for having such an importance, it must have been presented to society as a visible sign of a belief or of a dogma. And it's that high status that can explain the extraordinary survival of the pentagram until today. Also, from the 19th century, there are houses from central Portugal, a window with two pentagrams in order to protect the inhabitants from evil. And interestingly, also in Goethe's, the German poet, in his book Faust, is when the main character, Dr. Faust, is arguing with the devil, and he asks, "How did you, evil creature, manage to enter my house?" And the devil answers, "Because the pentagram was not well done." So even in literature of the 19th century, the pentagram appears represented. By the way, one great article about pentagrams was written in 1918 by José Leite Vasconcelos, which was a Portuguese medical doctor. That he was a medical doctor only during 2 years, and then he decided to become an archaeologist. He founded the National Museum of Archaeology in Lisbon, and he wrote about the pentagram, a very remarkable article with many examples of iconography. And I believe I went too fast because I'm finishing, but this means that if you want to make questions, there will be some more time. And this is the final slide. Someone sent me a long time ago, a colleague from Italy, and this is a photograph of the middle of last century, of the 20th century, a peasant drawing a pentagram and also some letters in a cattle's coral in order to protect the cattle against the evil eye. It's also one of the functions of the pentagram. And there are many also ethnographic devices regarding connected to cattle in several places of Portugal and also several places of Spain that they present this pentagram or 5 pointed stars. And so that's it. Much more will be to show, but that's it for the moment.